of October 27th, 2020. I am Chair Drew Karen, and I will be presenting over this meeting. As we begin, I'd like to review a few housekeeping items for the commissioners, applicants, and members of the public presented tonight remotely. Commissioners, please be unmuted and able to speak freely during this meeting. For each agenda item, I will call each commissioner by name to request comments or questions. Please wait until called to avoid speaking over one another. When speaking, please identify yourself by name so that we know who is speaking. All votes will be taken by roll call vote. Applicants will be muted by staff until the agenda item is called. Once called, the applicant will be unmuted to make the presentation and answer any questions of the commission. When your item is complete, voted on, you are free to leave the meeting. Public comment will be solicited during each actionable agenda item. Once they ask for public comment on a specific item, please click raise hand and go to webinar in order to make public comment. Before being individually identified, all members of the public will be muted. The meeting organizer will announce the speaker by stating their name and unmuting your audio to up to 3 minutes of public comment. When called, please state your name and address for the record and proceed with your comments speaking clearly during your allotted time. Important note, please limit background noise to the extent possible. When speaking, please be sure to identify yourself that we know who is speaking, and do not use the chat or question function, as these functions will not be monitored during the meeting. As a reminder, the meeting can be viewed live on Comcast Local Channel 18 or streamed at www.royalpalmbeach.com/YouTube. Thank you, everybody. Say the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. Lauren, can we please have a roll call?
Yes. Chairwoman June Curran.
Speaking.
Vice Chairman David Leland.
Here.
Commissioner Philip Marquis.
Present.
Commissioner Ray Nazareth.
Present.
Commissioner Adam Miller.
Present.
Lauren McClellan, alternate 1. Present. Gerald Brown, alternate 2.
Present.
Thank you very much, Lauren. Can we approve the minutes of the previous meeting, which was Tuesday, September 23rd? Can I get an approval?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
I'll second. I'll second.
Okay, thank you very much.
Madam Chair, if you could call for a vote before you move on.
Can we get a vote on that, please? Motion on the minutes?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
All those opposed?
None. Seeing none, let's move on to the first item then. Item 1, this is a public hearing to consider and make recommendations to the village council regarding application 20-30, an application by Insight Studio Inc. and adoption of the resolution 2025 confirming council action. The applicant is seeking site plan modification and architectural approval for the installation of 2 additional fuel pumps, 4 fuel pumps position, and a canopy extension to accommodate the additional fuel pump for a property located at 665 Royal Palm Beach Boulevard by agent Brian Terry of Insight Studios.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before I go into swearing in the applicant, if I could just speak to the alternates, welcome to the commission. Sorry, we're doing this remotely for one more month, but before we get into the action items, I just wanted to remind you that typically when we're in the village meeting hall, you all would be sitting in the audience. So I just want, so the record is clear tonight, you are alternates, but the commission is full. So you will not be voting tonight. You will just be listening to the commission meeting. So just so we're clear, and I look forward to meeting you in person when we resume that activity. With that, Lauren, do we have the applicant on the phone?
Yes, we do.
Can you state your name for the record, applicant?
He's on.
Brian Terry with Inside Studio.
Hi, Brian, it's Mitty. This is a quasi-judicial hearing. I need to swear you in. Can you raise your right hand for me? Is your right hand raised, sir?
Yes,
Thank you, sir. Do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, sir. And I'll turn back to the commission and ask if there are any ex parte communications with regard to application 20-30 SPM AAR that need to be disclosed.
No.
No, other than I had conversation with staff today.
Okay, thank you, sir. Hearing nothing further, Madam Chair, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Bradford, would you like to make a presentation?
I would. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
I cannot.
I don't know how to rectify that. It's showing up on everybody else's screen.
I think
David, do you see all of us at the top, David? David, do you see all of us, all of the
I
panelists?
see everybody, but I don't see the, oh, yes, now I do. Okay.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
So the applicant is seeking approval for a site plan modification and architectural approval in order to install 2 additional fuel pumps, which amount to 4 fueling positions, and extend the current pump island canopy to accommodate the additional fuel pumps. This expansion is for an existing racetrack located at 665 Royal Palm Beach Boulevard and situated within the general commercial zoning district. The applicant is seeking approval to add 2 fuel pumps in this area here. Currently, this is the configuration. This is the current configuration that got approved through council. Like I stated, the applicant is also seeking architectural approval for the extension of the current canopy. The proposed architecture is consistent with the previously approved canopy architecture. Let me go back 1 slide. Originally, the applicant proposed to have 10 fuel pumps. At the village council meeting, the village council limited them to its current configuration of 4 pump islands, with the idea, and the applicant suggested that at a future date, the additional fuel pumps, the additional 2 fuel pumps would be revisited after observing the functionality of the site. Right now, they feel like the addition of the two fuel pumps is warranted at this point in time and is appropriate, and staff does agree with that. Therefore, staff is recommending approval of this application. I'll turn the floor back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bradford. Is the applicant present, and would you like to make any comments?
Hi, good evening, Brian Terry with Inside Studio. No, I don't really have much to add to that. Again, as Mr. O'Brien indicated, it's something that with the original approvals of the property, we wanted to reserve the opportunity to come back once the site was operational. We understood exactly how those additional pumps would function on the property, and it wouldn't be problematic. I think that we're at that day, and we appreciate the support for that site plan.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments from the public?
Not at this time, June.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the commissioners? Yes, Adam? Go
Uh,
ahead.
just, thank you. Just not clear, either for, Bradford or the applicant, just not clear on, the village council only approving 8 pumps, 4 or 5 years ago. Was there an issue, or was it the applicant didn't, was only going for the 8 pumps at that time?
No, they were going for 10 pumps. The council felt as though that may be too intense at the time. So they limited it to 8 pumps with the idea that they would evaluate the functionality of the site over a period of time with the 8 pumps, and then reevaluate the additional 2 pumps if in fact the site functioned properly, and adding 2 additional pumps would be appropriate and still maintain the functionality of the site.
If you would, could I add to that? Is that okay? One of the things just to kind of bring to your attention is the overall site plan never changed. So originally it was designed with the 10 overall pumps. Whenever it was determined at the council hearing to reduce it to 8, the remainder of the site plan always remained the same. So that's why really, in essence, the site plan amendment only is the inclusion of those 2 additional pumps and the extension of the canopy. No other site modifications are being required, because it's always been designed in a manner to accommodate those additional pumps. So again, I think now understanding how the site, how well it functions, how there's not a stacking concern leading out to Southern Boulevard, how the access around the existing pumps work. I think that again, it was a concern. It was raised. It was something that we addressed back during the original approval. But I think now, as it's been open and operating, I'm assuming everybody's had the opportunity to visit the store at some point. It works well, and I think it'll only be more convenient, quite frankly, with the additional pumps to reduce any wait lines, to reduce and allow for easier, quicker access for everybody who visits the property.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you very much for that. He actually did sum up everything correctly at what went on at that time when we were in the process of building the racetrack gas station. Are there any further comments or questions?
I'd like to know, I assume that all the underground work is already there, since you were anticipating on adding more pumps later on. So there's not much construction involved in this.
Yeah, that's correct. Everything has already been, all the underground work was put in place, so they're ready to be tapped up to the actual pump themselves.
Well,
Brian, when do you think you're gonna start construction over there? Is it
How
rough-
soon would that start? Is that? I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear the question.
When do you think they're gonna start construction over there of the additional pumps? This year, next year?
I would think that they would try to get it done early next year. Obviously, they have to submit for the building permits and work through that process. Quite frankly, it'll take a few months to get to a point where they can pull a permit and actually begin that construction work.
Okay, good, thank you very much. Any additional questions or comments?
Yes, I have a question. Brian, you were told the limit on the pumps was 8, right, at the time?
Right, at the time of the original council approval, it was reduced from 10 to 8 at that point in time.
And
With-
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say with the caveat, quite frankly, and I think those who may have followed those hearings, they were interesting to say the least. But we certainly when we gave that concession, we certainly made it clear and on the record that our intention was always to come back. Hopefully, once again, with the expectation, once the site was open and operating, and people could see how it functions and how well the site worked, they would understand that the additional pumps weren't going to be problematic, and that's again why we're here this evening. There was a limit placed on it at that point in time, but with the expectation and the council understanding that we would evaluate, and we'd like to bring that back to them for the additional pumps.
So Brian, what you're saying is you had the meeting of the minds between you and the council. Now that's settled. Now my next question is, how does your neighbors, the people that possibly would oppose this, did you get any feedback as to additional pumps? Because you are asking for 2 pumps extra from what you had.
Right. Again, from a standpoint of it's really a matter of convenience more than it's anything else. We don't anticipate that the 2 additional pumps is really going to bring significant, more people to an existing gas station that's already there. What we do believe is going to provide for a better convenience for those folks who are actually already visiting the site. So our neighbors are really the same property owners that were there at the time when we got the original approval. They were supportive of the project. It's the shopping center and the hotel, which are owned by Mr. Santa Maria. And so we do have their full support and have had it from the onset of the project.
Okay, that's all I have for now.
And I'd just like to point out that we did believe in the beginning when we approved this, that by adding the extra pumps for later on, which we're attempting to do now, it would avoid any long delays in people getting gas and then stacking of cars waiting to get gas at the pumps. And that is a good gas station that is well kept, and it's something that we all knew that would be coming down the pipeline at a future date. So it should be no issue.
And Madam Chair, if I may just add also, just to raise point, the standard 300-foot notices were sent out on this. When the original gas station was approved, there was quite a lot of public involvement. As I understand it from Lauren, and she can correct me if I'm wrong, but there isn't any public present on the remote meeting tonight. So certainly those that were notified, this agenda's been posted. So the same level, as he said, as the applicant said, this has been in operation. So it's a different scenario now, going from a currently functioning gas station with so many pumps than it was years ago when it was going from not a gas station to a gas station. But the public was notified of this meeting, and as you heard, there was no direct public comment.
I have a comment to Mitty's point. Mitty, you have a good point there. I was physically present at all this unrest, and people were very unhappy. And I know people personally that were unhappy about this point. And so I'm glad that it was done right as far as, properly notifying everybody. And, I personally think that you have a good operation, Brian. I've used your store, and I think it's a good public outreach in a way, adding these 2 pumps for convenience. But I just didn't want that our Royal Palm Beach residents would be unhappy about not being notified. And Mitty, thank you for bringing those points. I feel a little better now.
Ray, to address your question, when anything is being built around any particular location, the required notices are sent out to all those around it that have to be notified. So that is a standard basis that's done by the P&C board. It's nothing we have to question because it's already done and being passed, and no comments. And at that time, people would have an opportunity to come to the meeting and make any comments. But seeing that there's none, we're just moving forward with what was originally planned and just developing now. Okay?
Can I make one more point on what you just said? I noticed that there wasn't public comment. That's why I was nervous, because it's like night and day, comparing, contrasting from the last time. So I feel a lot better this time. I don't know what it is, because of all the points Mitty made that mitigated the situation. I know they're notified. I'm not questioning that. I'm just saying that the residents were unhappy, and we had all this anger. I mean, I heard a lot of comments.
But let's move on now, because what you're talking about is all in the past. So, gentlemen, are there any additional comments or questions by anybody? Okay, since no additional comments or questions, can I have a motion on this, please?
I'll make a motion, we approve application 2030.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
All those in favor of the motion, would you please say aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any of those opposing the motion say nay? Seeing no nays, I say that the motion is passed 5-0. Thank you very much. Now we'll move on to our second agenda item. This is a public hearing to consider and make recommendation to the village council regarding various applications number, variable variance application number 20-31. An application by Insight Studios, Inc., requesting a sign variance from section 20-62 to allow for an increase in the maximum allowed square footage for a monument sign to 52.5 square feet, where village code allows 42 square feet for a property located at 665 Royal Palm Beach Boulevard. Thank you.
Brian, are you still there?
I am, yes.
Is anybody else speaking on behalf of this item?
Yeah, I probably should make a note. Samantha Jones with Racetrack is also on the line, so probably if you're gonna swear us in.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and swear you in since you have somebody new. Now, the other person on the phone, the quasi-judicial hearing, can you raise your right hand for me? You both have your right hands raised?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Do you both swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
I do.
Thank you both. I'll turn back to the commission and ask if there are any ex parte communications with regard to application number 20-31 that need to be disclosed at this time.
No,
No.
Yeah, as far as my point, talking with staff only.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'll turn it back to you, Madam Chair.
okay, thank you very much. Village staff, would you like to make a presentation?
I would. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
The applicant is requesting a sign variance in Village Code Section 20-60 2 to allow for a monument sign to be 52.5 square feet, where Village Code permits a maximum square footage of 32 square feet. The property is located at 665 Royal Palm Beach Boulevard and situated within the General Commercial Zoning District. The applicant is proposing a monument sign that is 7 feet in height and 7.5 feet in width for a total of 52.5 square feet. Current monument sign is 5 feet, 5.5 feet in height, 7.5 feet in width, and 41.9 square feet. Village Code Section 20-60 2 allows for a monument sign within the General Commercial Zoning District not to exceed 7 feet in height, 8 feet in width, and a maximum square footage of 42 square feet. In regards to Village Code, when utilizing the maximum height of 7 feet, the width is then limited to 6 feet in order to meet the maximum square footage limitation of 42 square feet. Criteria for granting variances is as follows. Special conditions and circumstances exist that are peculiar to the land, not result from the actions of the applicant, will not confer on the applicant any special privilege. The literal interpretation of the provisions of this division would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties. Will be in harmony with the general intent and purpose. The applicant contends that the variance to Village Code is needed due to the sign's positioning among the buffer landscaping along Southern Boulevard, and that the added height to 7 feet will promote the sign's visibility to traffic along Southern Boulevard. The applicant further asserts that the, quote, the code requirements to include the area of the base in the overall signage calculation is particularly unusual and restrictive. Notably, nearby jurisdictions do not have this same provision, specifically Green Acres and Village of Palm Springs, end quote. Staff is recommending denial of the variance request that feels as though the code requirements for monument signs in this instance can be met. Maximum code requirement 42 square feet for a monument sign can be met by reducing the width of the sign to 6 feet and still accomplishing the height of the sign proposed by the applicant to achieve the desired visibility along Southern Boulevard. Additionally, staff does not support this variance because staff believes that it doesn't meet the criteria for granting variances. Staff is requesting a recommendation of denial to forward to the village council regarding this application. And with that being said, I'll turn the floor back over to you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bradford. Is the applicant, Terry, would you like to make a presentation?
I would appreciate the opportunity. I'm not sure if it's possible for me to share a screen and have a short presentation. Or is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, I'm gonna skip forward because I also had some aspects of the site plan application in our presentation. So I want to move to the variance. This is essentially the sign that we're requesting the variance from. Again, I'm going to apologize up front about some of these photographs don't show all of the price markers. It's interesting when you use an iPhone, and the live function on an iPhone will not capture the electronic sign. So it's going to be a little bit odd because some of the pictures don't actually show the pricing in there. But the point being is, as Bradford mentioned, we're requesting the variance. Really, it's related to specifically only the square footage area of the sign itself. I think Southern Boulevard is unique in a lot of different ways, and our site is unique, and it was extremely unique during the initial approvals, as we kind of previously discussed. It was certainly contentious. There were a lot of folks who were really concerned of what this use would look like on this corner. And subsequent to that, there were a lot of improvements made to the site from a landscape perspective that I think really show well today as you go by there. Quite frankly, it's tough to actually see into the site and recognize the fact that there's even a gas station on the corner. So I think the expectations of what needed to be done at that point in time to really, I think, satisfy the concerns of the residents of Royal Palm Beach were met. Maybe a downfall of that entire thing is the fact that visibility is significantly reduced, and the most important visibility that a gas station can provide is the visibility to their price signage. It's what we all look for as you're driving past the gas station to see what they're selling the gas for, as opposed to maybe another one that's down the block. So it is very important to the site, very important to the operation and the success of the property, and the amount of investment that's gone into the site. We think that the request for the variance is a fairly minor request at this point in time. And so just kind of comparing the two signs side by side, again, the existing one, which is on the left, and the kind of the proposed one, which is on the right, they are the exact same box as far as the price signage component. The difference is really the base that's being expanded up by 1.5 feet or so, to really just kind of lift it off the ground a little bit and get it more visible to traffic as you are coming either east or west on Southern Boulevard. So it meets the height criteria. It's not exceeding 7 feet, which is the max. It's not exceeding the width criteria, which I believe 8 feet is the max. It is exceeding the area, which Bradford indicated that if you're going to get to the maximum height, you can't actually get to the maximum width of the line because the math simply won't work. So again, kind of putting a box around it, so the 42 square feet, and again, the one on the left, you can't see the base because of the landscape material, but because it's such a short base, it sits very low to the ground and makes it difficult to see for passing vehicles. And the one on the right is what we're proposing, which really just lifts it up about another 1.5 feet off the ground, which gives it the price signage components, actually the visibility that really is needed. So that's where the area calculation comes from, is really that additional 1.5 feet in height that we're asking for. Yet keep in mind, it still meets the maximum. It's still not exceeding the maximum height limit allowed by monument signage in the village. So we're going from the 42 square feet to the 52.5. There was some indication that other municipalities, other jurisdictions don't really calculate signage in that same manner. Typically, they may they have a height limit, which is typical. Different roadways, different communities have maximum height limits, but the sign area is typically contemplated as what is actually the logo and what is the sign, not necessarily whether there's a base or a top. And I think Royal Palm Beach's code is unique in that circumstance, in that their calculation includes the entirety of a sign, as opposed to most, which include really what is just simply the actual signage, again, the logo or the price component, and not the base element here. So if you were to just actually use our, what you visually see as the sign, like take a look at the picture on the left, visually you only see that component of the sign. It's only 27.18. So we're not proposing that space to get, or that area to get any larger. We're just trying to lift it off the ground. The only other signage we really have, we have one other monument sign that's on Royal Palm Beach Boulevard. And then we only have one central sign that's located on the existing canopy, which obviously will remain on that canopy. It'll get recentered. I believe it'll get recentered with the new canopy extension. And then we have the signage that's over the entrance into the racetrack, into the main entrance facing Southern Boulevard. So the reality is, we were also the landscape architects of the project. So, it's dense, it's thick, and it does exactly what it was intended to do, which is to really screen, quite frankly, the visibility to the gas station. I'm sure, I know Samantha's on the call here. She probably doesn't like me to hear that, or doesn't like me to say that, but that is really that's what the village residents were looking for. That's what village council was looking for, and that's certainly what village staff was pushing for us to do when we got the original approval. So again, that visibility to the canopy and the building are almost, there's almost none. And so really we're very reliant upon the price sign along Southern Boulevard, which, as you know, is an extremely fast road. So people are going quickly, and small signage disappears. And because we're so short, we're looking for that ability to bring it up a little bit. So that is looking west, right? So I'm basically standing on the sidewalk, basically at the intersection of Southern and Royal Palm Beach Boulevard, looking west. And the one on the left, as you can see, it's almost, you basically cannot see it. Unfortunately, the numbers aren't lit up. So obviously, if the numbers were lit up, you'd see a little bit better. But then you can see, as I got a little bit closer, as I'm walking down the sidewalk, it obviously comes into vision, but it's still very short and here. This is the same kind of view as I'm looking across Southern Boulevard, as if you're heading east. So I'm standing in the median, trying not to get killed on I think it was a Friday afternoon. So again, the signage is extremely small, which I understand from a community standpoint. That's what you're looking to do. And I think it's the appropriate thing along within the village. But, in this circumstance, I think it's become so short, and our request really is only just to lift it out of the landscape a little bit without having to go back in and just get it off the ground, so it's more on your line of sight as opposed to having to look down into it. So that is our request. That's the extent of my presentation. I hope you understand where we're going with it, and really what our basis of this request is. I think it's a fair request. We certainly have tried to minimize the amount of the request to keep it, again, within code regulations from a height and width standpoint, and really just minimizing it down to the request for the actual sign face and utilizing the exact same sign face area that's approved as of today, just getting it off the ground. So that's our request, and I'm certainly available, as is Samantha Jones. Samantha with Racetrack, to answer any of your questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Brian. Very appreciative of it. Are there any comments from the public?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any comments or questions from the commissioners?
Yes.
Who was that?
That was me.
Oh, go ahead.
I've always been a proponent for business on this, but I'm not a proponent for turning Southern Boulevard into the Vegas Strip. And I've said this for years, and I don't see the need to change that sign. No one has, a loss of locating that gas station. So I am not for this at all, and I don't want to see that happen.
Thank you, David. Any other comments or questions from the commissioners? Any concerns?
If I may jump in here real quick, this is Bradford. The applicant has shown a picture of the monument sign and the landscaping growing up to where their pricing is. That there is no prohibition for him or for Racetrack to go in and maintain that landscaping at a lower level right there at the base of the sign, to where that area is much more visible or achieves that visibility that they're looking for.
Thank you, Bradford.
This is Phil. That's what I was wondering about now. Why can't they just, keep the landscaping down in that area? It'll look good, but, it's, they just need to be time. 'Cause I kind of agree with David on, the overall picture. Or I think, they just kept the landscaping trimmed down. I think it would suffice, because you can't miss the gas station.
I have a comment. I feel that it's going to be preferential treatment, and you can quote me on that statement. I agree with David on there's no reason to agree to this. And secondly is the landscaping. I agree with Bradford. And my point specifically is this is preferential treatment, because this is going to open up a Pandora's box for all of the businesses up and down. I mean, I understand that you're in business and you want to reach out to the public, you want your sign to stand out, but if we want to do something, we would petition the council, at least Brian, you're the one concerned, petition the council to make the laws, because we're not the lawmaker here. We are advisors to the council. So you can petition to change the code. But as it stands, I'm opposed to this.
Thank you. Right. Any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing no comments or questions, may I have a vote on this, please?
I'd like to make a motion to deny this.
Thank you. And can I have a second on that?
I'd like to second the motion.
Okay.
Go ahead, Adam. Adam, you go ahead, second.
Okay,
I stand down.
thank you very much. Seeing that we have a motion and a second, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Any of those opposed to the motion, say nay. Thank you very much. The motion was denied by a vote of 5-4. The motion does not pass.
Just a clarification, Madam Chair, for the record, 5-0.
0.
Huh?
Yeah.
5-0. Oh, I'm sorry. 5-0. I'm sorry. Got it. Thank you. So that did not pass.
All right, well, thanks for having us this evening. Appreciate the support on the site plan.
Okay, thank you very much for making a presentation. Okay, is that anything else, Mindy, that we have to address tonight?
Yes, Madam Chair, just one reminder, your last agenda item, or your second to last, is notice of your next meeting. The meeting date is Tuesday, November 24th. I just wanted to remind the commission or let the commission know the executive order that allows for our remote constitution of a quorum is set to expire at 12:01 on November 1st. All indications from the governor's office are that executive order will no longer be extended, that this one that covered the month of October was the final extension of that in-person quorum suspension. So what that very likely means, and we won't know till Saturday night and into Sunday morning, but what that most likely means is that the November commission meeting will be in person at the village council chambers. So just keep that in your minds. I will certainly reach out to, and staff will reach out to you all if something changes, but I would be planning for in-person, at least in terms of constituting a quorum. If there are some who, once we have a quorum in person, appear remotely, that's acceptable, but we will need likely a quorum in person at the next month's meeting. So I just wanted to give you an update with that, Madam Chair. I have nothing further. Thank you.
Into that point, may I jump in here?
Thank you very much. Were you saying something, David?
No,
That means you have to see us in person again.
Yes, that's wonderful. I can't wait to see all of my charming guys.
if I may jump in here, this is Bradford again.
Program.
We were going to have a brief discussion. The P&Z meeting will be following in the week of Thanksgiving. If everybody doesn't have an issue with having that meeting during the week of Thanksgiving, that's fine. But if you'd like to move it to the following Tuesday, you know, that's an option too. I don't know how everybody feels. We just wanted to throw it out there.
I know I would not be available that Tuesday of Thanksgiving.
Bill, Ray, Dave?
I'm taking a look.
Okay,
I-
and you don't have to answer tonight. You can get back to us in a short, time
So
frame.
are we gonna do it on the 24th?
I was thinking, well, we can either do it before or we can do it after. We'll start to get bunched up on our advertising requirements by moving it up a week. But if we move it back a week to December 1st, that's an option too. We're just kind of throwing those ideas out.
I originally had it on the 24th of November.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yes. I'm sorry. Yes, the 24th of November. That is the week of Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
But it's before Thanksgiving.
Right, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. That's correct.
So I don't have a problem with that, but
And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get a consensus or an idea if that is going to be something that we want to just continue to move forward with.
Yeah, I think, David, if I may, and Bradford, if I may, I think the point was to see if folks knew that they were going to be traveling for that week to sort of get a sense of that
course.
now.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
I'm like most, I'm not traveling at all, so.
Me too.
Like a few of us. Okay, is that it? Anything else? I guess when we get the email, we can all reply to the email so we can know who will be in attendance at the meeting on the 24th.
Madam
Or,
Chair.
yes?
Yes.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yeah?
Yes.
Were you saying something?
Not I.
No? Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting, please? Today's meeting?
We adjourn.
Okay.
Adam?
Am I allowed to second on this?
Yes, you can second Adam. And I'd like to welcome our new alternatives to the meeting, and I hope you enjoyed it tonight and learned from all of this also, Great having
Yes.
you aboard.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everybody, and welcome our new members.
Yes. Take care. That's it. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. Hopefully we'll see you at the 24th. If not, we'll